this question is for Ellen. So you had a slide up, and I was just looking at the basic math. You guys had already financed 800 some odd units for I think 34 million, and you have a total piggy bank of 50 million, which gives you maybe another 400 units to be able to fund. Is there any more money in the pipeline?
It's a total of 100 million that we have available for grants now. CalHFA did receive an additional allocation from the last budget round for $50 million in ADU financing, but how that is to be used is yet to be determined. Along with that allocation came trailer bill language that requires us to have a stakeholder engagement process and a working group to advise us regarding the best way to program those funds to increase utilization both of our program and to stimulate ADU production. So to be continued on that front.
That's 50 million, 50, and you can look it up in AB 157 if you want to participate in that.
So Ellen, in state time, how long is that? When you talk about state time, all the stuff you're talking about what, in state world, how long does that take?
So I believe that the recommendations from the working group are due, I think by the second quarter of 2023. So we'll be moving fairly quickly. And did you mean, how long does that take in terms of absorption of the funds?
My washing machine says 4 minutes left, takes 2 hours later. So I'm wondering, in the same boat.
Mine does that too. But yeah, so I would anticipate that we'll make some decisions in this regard, in the coming months.
CalHFA is doing a great job with the grant. They're moving very fast.
Ellen, I wanted to ask you, if you have an existing building, is it even worth it to apply for the grant?
If you're income qualified, then I would say yes, because there are qualified soft costs. So you'll have architecture, you'll have engineering. Does your existing building have plumbing to it? If you're...
But does it actually pay for the plumbing to be put in?
Yeah, qualified pre-development costs include utility connections. So if you've got to get sewer out there, if you've got to get water out there, that counts.
I just got a bid for $16,000 for that. So
I similarly had sticker shock when I looked into it. I do think it's worth it. It also will help. So in most cases, small ADUs don't pay impact fees, but they do pay school fees. They do pay other permit fees. Grant can fund that. So yes, I think it.
And also maybe putting a second level on could impact. The 40,000, you could use that for that if you want to put a second level on that garage.
You can't use it for vertical construction costs. It has to be pre-development costs. But again, if you've got architecture costs, you've got engineering costs, you've got fees associated with that, all of those items would be eligible to be funded by the grant. And then also, just to be really clear with regards to the CalHFA grant, we will fund one ADU per homeowner. So.
Well, while we're adding details, I think too, like owner occupancy affidavit
is another important.
Right? So no investor properties at time of construction, no deed restrictions though, pretty cool. And then the other one, it's you get a 1099 for the 40K. So when you're doing your math of like, is it worth it? Oh wait, hold on, I'm going to be paying taxes on the 40, plus there's a 7,000 admin fee or a closing cost on the loan, plus this, plus that. Make smart decisions.
Our grant is not eligible for investor properties. Homeowner occupancy is required.
Hello there. My question is about the income qualifying. You mentioned it was 150% of the median income. Is that household income? Is it the person that's applying for the grant? And how do you guys differentiate that? And just a follow up real quick is, if they're getting rental income on the new ADU, is that also included in their income limits?
That's a great question. So when you seek approval for the grant, you'll provide your tax return. So basically, the intent is that it's household income. And the rental income, since your tax return will not reflect rental income on that ADU, then that will not count towards the income qualifications. Yes, your prior year tax return.
So I remember getting a presentation and they talked about if you did a home equity loan, like a HELOC, that particular one had to have construction tied to it because then your money funds into that. But you mentioned HPP. If somebody doesn't need a refi or an equity loan, can that money go in to set up the pre-construction through HPP? Or you still need to pull cash somewhere, like say you have cash?
Yeah, HPP Cares will require that the entire project is funded. So they will manage a construction escrow account that offers us the assurances that the entire project is funded. So that's the
Thank you. My name is Sam with Remax Gold. I have 5 questions for Ellen about Cal HFA. The first question, is there an application fee? Is there? I couldn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Is there an application fee for that? The Cal HFA?
No.
Okay.
Not directly.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll,
And
I'll
then-
shield Ellen a little, right? So there's 2 sets of rules. There's CalHFA's requirements, and then there's the requirements of each entity that is approved to qualify you for the grant. So is there an application fee for CalHFA? No. But will a lender charge you a closing fee or maybe charge you to run an original report?
I've been a realtor for 30 years. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
My second
And
question is,
let me add something actually to that. Nobody should be charging exorbitant fees to help you access the CalHFA grant.
okay, that's fine. I talked to a lender who's one of your approved lenders on the website. He told me, specifically there's the escrow accounts that need to be opened and all the money needs to be in the escrow account. You want to make sure it's paid. So that's actually my third question. So when you do create the managed construction escrow account, all the money has to be in that account. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's the third question. I'll go back to question number 2. Have you had any issues with some of the primary loans? Nowadays, most homeowners have this killer loan with a great interest rate. And like you said in the beginning of your speech, interest rates are really high now. Have you had any issues with people trying to get a loan to finance their ADU and, the first has to, refinance and you can't do this or that kind of thing? And so the first would perhaps call the loan and say, hey, you're making a change to your house, that we're putting us at more risk. You're having a construction.
So like Ellen said earlier, you do not need to refinance to qualify for the grant.
Okay, great. My fourth question is, you had mentioned the nonprofits that are helping with the escrow accounts. You had mentioned the one, and you also mentioned NPHS. What exactly does that stand for, and how can I get in touch with them?
NPHS is a CDFI that serves the San Bernardino area. So they're an inland
Okay.
empire located.
So,
They happen to be, I'll share just because it's interesting, although perhaps less pertinent for this crowd, but they happen to be both the financier and the manufacturer dealer of manufactured ADUs. So they have a really interesting model where they're the dealer of the manufactured ADU
Yes,
and they're
yes.
providing the financing.
Okay, thank you very much. So in our area, Sacramento, the HPP Cares is who we would try to find contact for.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would recommend reaching out to any of our approved lenders and
I did. He told me that he hasn't done one loan from you yet, and he wasn't sure if he trusted giving this escrow account all your money. No, really. I mean, you're giving them $150,000, and a lot of them have never done business with these people before. So he was a little cautious, and that was one of your preferred lenders. My final question is conversions. A lot of people have garages. I have a 3-car garage. I could convert that. Can I use that Cal HFA loan for a garage conversion for, my 3-car garage to create an ADU?
yeah, for qualified pre-development costs,
And
you
it's
can
not a
use our
loan.
grant.
Right,
And-
right. It's for pre-development costs, zoning fees, that kind of thing. So school fees, fire fees,
Anybody
building
with fewer
fees,
than
all that
5
thing.
questions next.
Thank you very much.
And preferably questions that weren't covered in the presentation.
Okay, so there's a question in this group here.
Ooh.
This is a grant, correct?
I'll explain it. So I'm looking at our fee sheet that was on the wall. The CalHFA conventional with the CalHFA DPA equity builder, it's a 10% forgivable second if you've kept the property for 5 years or more. That's what this says. Is there any forgiveness on your 40,000? Is there any kind of
It's a
incentive?
grant, so it's
so you
not
don't have
a
to pay
loan.
it back?
There's no
Okay,
payback.
well, I only mentioned this because it was kind of a contradiction from what's
So
written here.
our forgivable equity builder
know,
loan
I
is
know,
an
but I was
entirely
making
different
sure.
product, which, as you mentioned, is forgivable over 5 years.
Okay, good to know. I just wanted to make sure because it was kind of a
It's a
contradiction.
good question.
Right behind you, my dear. Karen, it's your
I want to thank the education committee. Katie runs it. Katie Butler runs our education committee. I want to thank this gentleman here. I met him through Facebook. We've never met personally, so I appreciate him coming. All these guys here came out of their time. I appreciate you coming for the association. It's a member benefit, so thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.